Hello everyone. So today we will look into pro forma for pre-qualifiers Tier 1 UG Engineering Institutes program applying for NBA accreditation. So it is divided into two parts, part A and part B. So part A is the profile of the institution like the previous time. Here also the information that we are going to fill is almost similar like name of the institute, institution address, head of the institution, contact details of the head of the institute, name and address of the affiliating university if any, type of the institution, ownership status, details of all programs offered by the institution. So here is a table being provided for this A8. So wherein we need to mention during the assessment period if any program is closed, merged, then we have to mention that in the table where it is being provided. So here we have an added part with respect to allied branches like program to be considered for accreditation wide this application. So under table A 9.1, you will be writing the name of the department and name of the program. Program is Bachelor of Engineering and department is what name you are given to the department. So under the same heading, under table 9.2, we need to add the details of allied departments as well. So the details of these allied departments, you can get it as an annexure in the SAR of Tier 1 for July 2024, which is available in the NBA website or also in the Gazette notification that is given by AICT and your relevant universities. So here allied branches that have been considered for the department that are going for accreditation like computer science and engineering, allied departments have been mentioned. Similarly for electronics and communication, mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. So part B is a bit changed here in the new format. So here we have to provide a separate information for the program that we are applied for and also information of the faculty in the table that is being provided over here. And this has to be for 3 academic years starting from current academic year. So if you look at this table, you have name of the faculty, PAN number, APAR ID only if it is available, then highest degree of the faculty, university, area of specialization, date of joining the institution, designation at the time of joining, and present designation, the date on which designated as higher order like a professor, associate professor, or if assistant professor, any of those. Then nature of association with the institute, regular, contractual, or ad hoc. Currently associated with the institute, yes or no. If leaving, date of leaving, then experience in years in the current institution only. So that have to be filled in this table. So once that is done, we have another table under part B where we will be considering the faculty cadre in the departments in in alignment with allied departments as well. So here the number of professors with PhD degree, regular and contractual or ad hoc for the department that is applying for accreditation along with the allied department. So altogether number has to be displayed over here for CAY and CAY M1. Similarly with the number of associate professors with PhD degree and number of assistant professors. Total number of faculty members with PhD degree as per AICTE norms have to be written over here considering all professors, associate, and assistant professors. So again, the part that is being continued for part B, which was there in the previous format as well, like details of the head of the department for the program under consideration, student faculty ratio in the new format. So this part I have discussed in my previous video of how to calculate the SFR with respect to allied branches or cluster departments, which is going for accreditation. So all these both have to be taken into consideration and then the SFR has to be calculated. So some extra points that have been added over here for your consideration is the contractual faculty appointed with any terminology whatsoever who have taught for 2 consecutive semesters with or without break between the 2 semesters in corresponding academic year on full-time basis shall be considered for the purpose of calculation. So whatever name you give, if that faculty is working consecutively for 2 semesters without any break, then such a person can be taken into consideration for calculation of SFR. So, however, the following will be ensured in case of contractual faculty. Shall have AICT prescribed qualifications and experience shall be appointed on full-time basis and work for consecutive 2 semesters without break, should have gone through an appropriate process of selection, and the records of the same shall be available to the visiting team during NBA visit. Faculty members of the department who do not have teaching or practical loads will not be counted for SFR. Director, principal, dean, academics, administrative position people in the department who have load, a teaching load will be considered for accreditation process. Visiting faculty, adjunct faculty who are working on hourly basis will not be calculated for SFR calculation. So these 3 points we have to remember very carefully. So at the last of this pre-qualifier, there is again a compliance status of pre-qualifiers, which we need to justify our statements and have a proper record maintained. Whether approval of the competent authority, such as AICT, UGC, BOG of universities, deemed universities, for the program under consideration has been obtained for the previous 5 years, including current academic year. So whether the student faculty ratio in the department and allied departments is less than or equal to 25 is to 1. So this is the maximum number of maximum limit of SFR that can be maintained for a department that is going for accreditation, that is 25 is to 1. That is for average of 3 academic years starting from current academic year -1 and -2. So average of these three have to be maximum limit is 25 is to 1, and similarly the marks allocation is happening with respect to faculty information in criteria 5 under this. So in serial number 3 of this compliance table, you see there are two cases. If the department that is going for accreditation does not fall in any cluster department or allied departments, then it should have two professors or one professor and one associate professor with PhD degree in current academic year and current academic year -1. In another scenario, if the department or schools that are including cluster departments or allied department is applying for accreditation, then that should have two professor or one associate and one professor. And similarly, the allied department should also have n number of professors and n number of associate professors with respect to the department that is going for accreditation for current academic year and current academic year -1. Whether the number of faculty having PhD is greater than 20% with respect to the department that is going for NBA, and also with respect to allied departments for current academic year and current academic year -1. So whether two batches have passed out in the program under consideration. Whether the HOD of the department in which the program under consideration is running should be appointed on regular basis and should possess PhD degree in the current academic year. So if all these statuses are applicable, you have to write the compliance status as complied or not complied and then submit the pro forma for pre-qualifiers for NBA Tier 1. So once this is done, this is the extra points that I'm covering here in this, like guidelines for faculty norms, student faculty ratio, and faculty retention ratio, which we have to be very careful with. In case of regular faculty, the faculty to be counted in the respective year, if the faculty has joined on or before 31st August of the same year and has continued till 30th April of next year. Okay. So when a faculty has to be counted for the calculation of SFR, he or she should be joining the institute before 31st August of that year and continue the service till 30th April of the next academic year. However, in the case of COVID, there was some uh, leniency that was given for academic year 20 and 21. The joining date will be considered as 31st December 2020 instead of 31st August. Similarly, for 21-22, the same scenario is going to follow. Academic year is considered from July to June. If SAR is submitted before 30th September, CAY shall be the previous academic year, and if the SAR is submitted after 30th September, then the CAY shall be running academic year for the purpose of data consideration and calculation. So 30th September is a very important date that has to be remembered. So UG engineering programs, Tier 1 and Tier 2, the SFR has to be maintained as 25 is to 1. If that is maintained or below that, then the accreditation for 3 years, it is eligible. If it is 20 is to 1 and less than that, then it will be eligible for accrediting for 6 years. However, the other rules and regulations also have to be met along with SFR. For PG engineering program, 25 is to 1 should be the minimum SFR for accrediting for 3 years, and 20 is to 1 or less than that for accrediting for 6 years, again along with other criteria that have been mentioned earlier. So faculty retention ratio calculation that has been considered for NBA for the new format is listed in this table over here. So if you look at this table, it is a very expansive table where we have different columns that have been with respect to CAY M1, M2, and M3, and different rows have different denominations over here. Like RF is the total number of required faculty in the department, including allied departments, to adhere to the 20 is to 1 ratio. So student faculty ratio with calculations based on both student numbers and faculty requirements as per section 5.1 of SAR. So that we had done in the previous video, which will be using the formula RF is equal to S by 20. So here required faculty is calculated by total number of students divided by 20. The formula is given in the table itself. So as per my previous data of calculation of SFR, 347 students I had considered for two departments. So divide by 20 is equal to 17. Similarly for CAY M2 and CAY M3. So available faculty in the department along with allied departments for CAY M1 is 26, 25, and 23 for M2 and M3. A is the number of faculty members at the current institute with less than 1 year of experience. So among this 26 faculty, how many faculties you have with an experience of less than 1 year in the current institute has to be mentioned here, which is represented by A. Then B is the number of faculties with experience greater than 1 and less than 2. C is the number of faculties having experience greater than 2 and less than 3. D is the number of faculties having experience greater than 3 years and less than 4 years. And E is the number of faculties in the department and allied department having experience greater than 4 years. So once we tabulate all these values, we will be applying the formula to calculate what is the faculty retention for CAY M1, M2 and M3. So this is a very simple formula that is given. A is the number of faculties having less than 1 year experience into 0, with which they will not be considered for retention. B into 1, so more than 1 and less than 2, number of faculties into 1, and C into 2, D into 3, and E, the maximum, is into 4. So the number of faculties having more than 4 years of experience multiplied by 4. So summate all this and divide it by required number of faculty, that is 17, and multiply that by 2.5, which point is limited to maximum of 10. So even if it crosses 10, then the maximum is 13.08, which I am getting. The maximum can be given as 10. So above that, whatever it goes, even if you have n number of faculties, so this will be capped to 10. So similarly, it will be done by for CAY M2 and M3, and average faculty retention will be summation of all these three divided by 3, which is going to be somewhere around 12 point something, and maximum points that can be gained for this is 10. So maximum is 10 points for faculty retention that can be considered by NBA for new SIR under Tier 1. So here is a link for your reference for SFR calculation, which I did previously. Thank you. You can contact me on this email ID. Let's meet again soon. Thank you very much.